There are few things more fearsome on this planet than our enormous oceans. So large that they cover over 70% of the surface of the Earth. Even more shocking, a whopping 95% of our ocean depths remain completely unexplored. It is often noted that as a species, we know more about our solar system than we do about our own ocean depths. There is something so primal in our fear and caution of great stretches of water, something that kept our ancestors alive, and one of the reasons we still exist today. Anyone who's ever swam in the sea, on a beach trip or vacation perhaps, has probably experienced it for themselves. The humbling feeling of being so small, so insignificant, so vulnerable in the large expanse of it. A strong current, a change in tide, perhaps even a sea creature of some sort could have complete power over you, leaving you helpless, panicked, and dead. It is not the particular dangers themselves, possible yet unlikely, no. It is the fear of the unknown, the sheer vastness, out of place where we do not belong, in too deep. The following stories may shock you. The following story was posted by a Reddit user named kytescall. I just remembered an incident that did scare me. When you're diving, you want to ascend to the surface slowly. This is because under pressure, your blood and tissues can hold more gases, in particular inert nitrogen from your compressed air, dissolved in it than when you're at the surface. And as you ascend to the surface, these dissolved gases have to return to being gases. If you're slow, you just breathe it out as you come up. But if you're too fast, they turn into bubbles of gas in your arteries and veins before they can be vented out. This causes decompression sickness, aka the bends. I was diving with a friend at about 25 meters, which is around 82 feet. When her old beat up BCD, the vest that you can inflate with air to control your buoyancy, started to inflate on its own. This has happened to me before, but I just disconnected the air hose from the BC immediately and carried on, and went to do about another 10 dives with that busted BC that I only inflated manually. She didn't think to do that, or didn't have time to do that. This happened very quickly. I saw that she was starting to have buoyancy control issues. She was upside down kicking to try and stay down, but in a few seconds it took for me to realize how bad the problem was. She was already at the surface. Basically, I quickly glanced around to see if there was a rock that I could use to weigh her down, but when I turned back around, she was gone. I followed her up, but not too quickly, and even so, my dive computer was beeping warnings at me. When we met up, I wondered why she didn't use her dump valve. There's a valve at the bottom of the BC exactly for releasing air when you are feet up, especially since she was experienced and should know to do that. Then I saw that the string you pulled to open the valve was missing, so it was literally impossible to dump the air when oriented that way. So, check your gear before you use it. I was pretty worried that she would come down with the bends, but luckily she was fine. People are often worried that I dive alone a lot, but honestly, all of my scariest and most anxious moments were problems occurring with other people. The following story was posted by a Reddit user named CompletelyFlammable. Gather round, Redditors, it's story time. It was Christmas time, 1998. I was at home mourning the loss of my girlfriend. She wasn't dead, she was just a damn whore. Anyway, this was in my surf club days. One of the greatest moments of my surf club life was when I got my PADI dive ticket so I could do diving for the Coast Guard, who were in the neighboring building. This was a great moment because it gave me and my immediate family access to the Coast Guard Surf Club bar. I was popular that year all of a sudden. So there I am, bitterly complaining to no one because they're all drinking at the surf club about the aforementioned damn whore, when my lounge is lit up with blue and red lights. A policeman had driven down the driveway and parked outside and decided that knocking was too hard, so he turned on the lights. My father was sitting in front of the car, laughing at my face when the officer told me to get in the car, that there had been a boat accident. 3 guys had taken a boat out and managed to sink it. One had made it to shore and raised the alarm, but he didn't know where his friends were. The commotion had spilled into the bar at the surf club, and it was quickly realized that the on-call diver had been drinking for a few hours. The time is 7 p.m. at this stage. Enter my father. "Ah, my son is the diver for the surf club. He's at home probably, complaining about his damn whore ex-girlfriend," he proclaimed, I am guessing. But I would even suspect he would have stood up before declaring it. With that, I was conscripted. I was on the Coast Guard boat with all my kit and getting the rundown. 22-foot boat, stuck anchor, mildly choppy seas, Tanner's Rock, 2 missing. Tanner's Rock was a popular fishing spot, a large rock formation about 30 meters deep that fish tended to gather near. I assume it had a great bar or nightclub or something. I don't really know what attracts fish to stuff. I am suited up and game face is on. It's now close to 8 p.m. The damn whore has been banished for now, and I am about to roll backwards into the sea when the skipper says, "Well, I don't see any sharks. Good luck." That bastard. Over I go. They had dropped a rope with a sandbag attached to it when we got to Tanner's Rock, so I could guide myself down. I grab the rope and start descending. The dark closes in. The lights on my helmet and wrist penetrates far less than you think and less than I hoped. You can't really crash dive 40 meters or you'll get narked pretty hard, and you can't crash surface from 40 meters or you'll get the bends, so slowly does it. But there is no sound, and it's a closed dark bubble with swaying edges, so you need to make your mind pay attention to anything other than the shapes in the fucking water. Because you will see them. There are sharks and squid and octopus and demons and witches all just outside of your line of vision. It's so dark, you can't see the surface at all. No stars, no moon. Is that a shark? No, it's fine. Bump. The knots on the rope are 10 meters apart. 3 more to go. Bump. The dark seems to be getting closer somehow. Bump. Nearly there. The bag has stirred up the bottom a bit and there is less visibility. I didn't see the bottom at first because the back of the boat came out of the dark at me. It was nose down, stern up, standing at about 45 degrees from the bottom. This was the moment I realized there could be 2 bodies on the boat. The lights now had something to bounce off of, so I could see a little more than before, and I started to check the boat. The cabin door was closed, so I knocked. I have no idea what would have happened if they had knocked back, but there was nothing. I then had to gently but violently rip the door off and repeat the process again for the onboard toilet room, but thankfully that was empty too. I grabbed the EPIR beacon, which was in a plastic bag, meaning it didn't go off. The anchor had gotten stuck and the winch was strong enough to pull the front of the boat down. I think the finding was that a wave came over the front and flooded the front section of the boat, and then the winch took over and happily wound the boat to the anchor, then jammed up on the chain and stopped. I undid the bolt on the anchor and the boat started to slowly rise. I tied the sandbag rope to the bollard on the front and started the long ascent back into the dark. I started thinking about the 2 missing men, floating around drowned just beyond my sight in the dark, imagining hands reaching out for me, sharks eating them and looking for more humans. Bump. Check my watch. I have to go slowly enough that I do 1 minute per bump. I could do 2, but better safe than sorry. Let me tell you, that is a long ass minute. Up we go again. Bump again. Timer again. This was easy. You have done this before. Start rising again. Bump. I'm about 10 meters down. I have heaps of air and an overactive imagination when it all goes to fuck. Beneath me, I can see movement. Fast movement. One hand points the light at it, while the other hand goes for my diver knife. A huge, solid object is just below my feet. It hits and slides up my leg, and I realize in horror, it's the fucking boat. The boat has risen, and the pontoons are expanding as the gas expands, displacing more water and accelerating the ascent. The boat goes past in a few seconds, and in my relief, I actually laugh. I resheath the knife, and then I realize my mistake. The rope is gone. The damn whore boat has stolen my rope. So I do what my training tells me to do, and I piss myself. I look at the watch, and it's been a minute. I start to rise with no reference points and no guide. After what feels like a year, I surface to the yells and abuse from the Coast Guard, trying to figure out what to do with the capsized but now floating boat. I swim over and get back on the boat. We manage to flip it and tow it back to shore. I had to debrief with the police, and I went to see my dad, now wearing the wetsuit half undone and bare feet. I got a Vikings hero welcome. Beer and cheering and much storytelling was had. Turns out all 3 of the boat people got to shore. 2 were close to each other and went home and got drunk, while the 3rd raised the alarm. The following story was posted by a Reddit user named TexasGuy911. I was diving in a local pond with a group of much more experienced cave divers than I, who was just an advanced certification at the time. I am leading the dive, as to get used to pressures and responsibilities of heading the procession. They are mentoring me. It is a Texas puddle, visibility 10 feet max, not too deep, maybe 25 feet. The known horrible visibility makes it impossible to navigate by compass. We follow a line, a piece of string, put by other divers. These lines go from one sunken item to another. So, I know I'm about to hit a small sunken boat. Don't remember which one. There are a few similar in a row in the same state of decay. So, I am first in the group. I get to the boat and see someone's black army boot sticking out from the inner quarters. Curious thing is, it looks somewhat new, not like items you'd find on the bottom. Hard to see, too much muck in the water. So I touch the boot, thinking it is by itself but won't lift, like it is attached to something heavy. I put my hand further in and feel the leg continuing out, pants, the calf, and I see the second leg now. Fuck with a big letter F, right? I turn around and show a sign for the emergency ascent to the group behind me. Everyone has a sour face. No one wants to surface, but it is a rule that if one says up, others in the group must abort, no questions. They wanted me to explain with signs why, but what is a diver's sign for a cadaver? I feel like I rush towards the surface, even though trying to stay calm and take time. So we're on the lake's surface. I have this adrenaline rush, can't breathe enough. So I tell them there's a body down there. I see rolling eyes from everyone, once they see I am serious. A fun bunch, right? So I describe in detail what I saw. We go down. I don't lead anymore. We make a group search pattern for the line. But once we locate it, we don't know if we should go forwards or backwards, as there are a number of boats on the line, and who knows in which the body is in and how far we drifted while talking it out on the surface. Well, we find all boats before finding the original one, of course. So, our customary leader goes into the cabin of the boat while we wait. I'd say he was rather courageous at this point, went right in. Then, he emerges from the cloud of muck and tells us all to surface. So, gluing information together from what we learned later on, turns out the police or some other agency had a body recovery training in the same lake the same day. When they went for lunch, they stuffed their fully dressed, anatomically correct rubber doll in one of the sunken boats for a few hours for safekeeping. Well, I died a little that day. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I will be uploading on this channel on Fridays, so consider subscribing and hitting the bell to stay notified. And if you could leave a like on this video, it would really help me out a lot with growing the channel. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.